Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. In today's Foundation Friday for over 50s, we're going to be taking a look at Smashbox Studio Skin 15-Hour Wear Hydrating Foundation. This is the last Foundation Friday for 2016, and so far for the entire year I have not been able to add another Holy Grail foundation to our list of Holy Grails, which contains one foundation. That is, of course, the Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet. So that's my one Holy Grail, and I wanted to be able to end 2016 with a bang with the announcement that I had found the second Holy Grail foundation. Well, I'm going to reserve the final judgment till the end of the video just to keep you guys in suspense. So let's get into the Smashbox foundation. This retails for $42 for 1 ounce and it comes in 22 shades. According to Smashbox, it's a medium to full coverage buildable foundation. It's oil-free and hydrating, but it says it won't give you any shine. It's light diffusing spheres, blur imperfections, and it says that it's sweat and humidity proof, that the color stays true, and that it's transfer proof. So that is a tall order to fit into one little bottle, and I sure hope it's all in there. I already know the answer. So I checked out the ingredients on this one. This is yet another water and silicone formula, but it does have glycerin and hyaluronic acid and vitamin E, and all those are hydrating. It does not contain any SD alcohol, which can be drying to the skin, and it also doesn't contain any fragrance. So those are two of the things that are kind of deal breakers right off the bat a lot of times for me. So already a good start for this one. This is contained in a heavyweight glass bottle with what I love, a pump dispenser. I picked it up in 2.25 cool beige. Here's the swatch on that, but you'll actually see throughout the video that I do use it in a few different colors. One of my criticisms with this as far as the colors go is that they do tend to run very yellow or very peachy, very orangey. And so if you are more of a pinky bluey person, you may not be able to find a color match in this because they do run very much to that side of the color spectrum. You'll see by the swatch how really orange the swatch looks. Once I put it on my face, it seemed to normalize a little more. So it's got some kind of magical color properties in here. So it's supposed to be 15 hours wear so that it will last through a 15-hour photo shoot and look great on film. So a lot to get into. I always like to start with my day one footage. At day one, I always use it at baseline, which is that I just use my favorite sunscreen, which is my hydropeptide sunscreen. I don't use primer or setting powder or any application tools. So I just slap it on with my fingers to see how it goes. It's kind of a sticky, gooey feeling. It's like kind of a gel texture, but not a whipped dry gel texture. And it does stay tacky for about 10 minutes or so, but that gives you time to work it. It gives you time to put on any cream blush or cream contouring that you may want. This is supposed to be a demi-matte finish, and I found that it goes on a little shinier than that, but it does dry back to more of a satin finish. It really is a beautiful demi-matte skin-like finish. I love the finish on this right out of the chute. It is sheer to medium coverage as I applied it on day one. You can build it up, but I do prefer it in the sheer to medium range. And the good news is that it didn't settle into wrinkles and it didn't settle into pores. And I really liked it. I like how it goes on with the fingers just over my standard sunscreen because that makes life so much easier. So I always come back and check in on it at 5 hours and at 10 hours. At the 5-hour check-in, I was not as 100% thrilled with it as I was when I first put it on. It was getting a little bit shiny in my T-zone, and I felt like the fronts of my cheeks and right between my eyebrows was looking a little more textury than I would like it to. It's not the kind of thing that you could really notice if you were looking at me from a distance, but you know, I look at everything in my up-close 15x mirror, and in there I was like, oh, it's a little textury. That doesn't make me happy. But the good news is it was not worn off at all, and it still wasn't settling in any pores or wrinkles. And at 11.5 hours, it was still wearing really, really well. It was just a little faded on my nose and chin and on my blemishes, but overall it looked good. It was slightly patchy and drying on my chin, but my forehead looked oily. I didn't find it to be terribly moisturizing, but it wasn't really drying either. So to correct for the things that I wasn't 100% happy with on day one, for day two, I decided to use a primer with it. I used the Smashbox pore minimizing primer just on my T-zone, so my forehead, tip of my nose, and the fronts of my cheeks. And I used 2 different brushes to apply it. On one side of my face, I used my Morphe G6 brush, and on the other side of my face I used the Artist Oval 7 brush. I really preferred the artist side of my face. I felt like it went on perfectly. It was a little fuller coverage than I had gotten with my fingers. On the G6 side, I didn't love it. It was a little streaky on my cheek, and so I just went over that and smoothed it out with the Oval 7, and it looked good again. So at the 5-hour check-in, I was surprised to see that with the Smashbox primer that my forehead was getting shiny again, and that it was slightly worn off on my nose, definitely more worn off than the day before when I didn't use a primer. And it was sliding around a bit on my forehead. So I think that this one needs a silicone and water mix primer, not just a full-on silicone primer, because the silicones tend to make things slide around a little more. I had what I'm going to call some micro cracking over here by the side of my face. It just kind of cracks on the surface. It didn't do it on my whole face, just on this area. Now you can't see that from, you know, a normal conversational distance, but you can see it if you're looking up close in your 10x or 15x mirror. So that I wasn't thrilled with, but again, there was no settling into wrinkles or pores. The wear was really good, and it was very comfortable to wear. It didn't feel drying at all, and it didn't feel heavy. It felt nice and lightweight. So for the 3rd day, I wanted to try it with the sponge and one of my favorite primers, which is the Smashbox Photo Finish Light Primer. I love that one. I used a different sunscreen just because I like to keep trying it with all different sunscreens. This sunscreen was SkinCeuticals Physical Matte UV Defense Sunscreen, which I'm really loving a lot. The foundation goes on great with the sponge, and it worked really, really well with the primer. Again, no settling in pores, no settling in wrinkles, really lovely skin-like finish, and happy to wear it around all day. I gotta say, every time I pass myself in a mirror or a window, I'd be like, oh wow, that looks really nice. So at the 5-hour check-in, I came back, and shocker of all shockers, I can't find anything to complain about. I know, you guys, I am very, very picky. I couldn't believe it when I watched back the footage. No settling into pores, no settling into wrinkles, good wear, and comfortable again. At the 10-hour check-in, it was slightly worn off on my upper lip and still showing that micro cracking, but it hadn't gotten any worse. It hadn't gotten any better either, but it still looked really good throughout the day, and I was still very, very happy with it. With a little bit of primer, it does help it to last a little bit longer, more towards the 11 to 15 hour mark. Without a primer, you can definitely get a solid 5 hours out of it, but if you do have an oily T-zone, you might notice that it starts getting shiny. I do like to just set my T-zone just right here between my eyeballs and and on the tip of my nose with a very, very light dusting of setting powder. I did use it one time where I put it on heavy, and I put on a really heavy coat of setting powder. I hated it that day. Absolutely hated it. Couldn't stand it. Felt like it looked cakey and gross. We do have those 2 tests that we like to do, the phone test and the flash photography, so let's see how those go. Here's my nice shiny clean phone glass. Bye. And is it transfer proof? It's not completely transfer proof because I can see that there's a little bit on here, a little schmodge on there, but pretty darn good, I gotta say. It's not disgusting like it is a lot of times. And let's do the flash photography test. It looks great in flash photography. All right, you guys, all the testing's been done, and so the final result is in. And what's the verdict on the Smashbox Studio Skin 15-hour wear foundation? It's so close to being Holy Grail, you guys. It's so close. It fulfills like 90% of the things that are on my list for a Holy Grail foundation. It goes on easily with all 3 application methods: fingers, brush, sponge. It's long wearing on its own, and it plays well with all my different sunscreens, which is amazing. It doesn't settle into pores and wrinkles, ever. It has a beautiful satin skin-like finish. It has no SD alcohol or fragrance. For those of you with super sensitive skin, it will probably make your skin very, very happy. And it was non-drying. My favorite way to wear it is with a lighter coverage, with a sponge, with a little bit of primer and a tiny bit of powder. Makes it into perfection, and I gotta say, I am absolutely loving it. But the things that keep it out of the Holy Grail status are the color selection where they're very yellow and very orangey. The other issue is that if you have an oily T-zone, it will get shiny in your T-zone in the afternoon, and if because you have an oily T-zone, you also have enlarged pores, they tend to go hand in hand, that it might make your skin look a little more textured than you would like after the 5-hour mark. So it looks really fantastic for the first 4 or 5 hours, then it does start to break down a little bit. Then I did get, like the micro cracking, the more textury look, a little bit of oil. So I think that if you were to give this a try, that you might be very happy with it, especially people with drier skin where you might not have a texture issue. This could be very, very, very good for you. I think this could be holy grail for a lot of people. I'm so glad that I tried this one because now I have another great foundation to add to my arsenal of really good things. So the links for everything will be in the information box below the video, including the links to the list, which is where I keep the running list of where all the Foundation Friday foundations rank from best to worst, and you'll see where this one fits on the list, probably second or third. You just click that show more button, the box will open. You can find links to all the makeup that I'm wearing today. There will also be links there to my Foundation Friday playlist. So if you're looking for a particular foundation, chances are I have reviewed it. And if you click on the link to the playlist, you can see everything and pick and choose what you're looking for. So that is the last Foundation Friday for 2016. This is going up a couple days before Christmas, I do believe. So I just wanted to wish everyone happy holidays. I wanted to thank you for watching this year. You made 2016 a banner year. I'm really looking forward to a great year in 2017 that we will go into together and find some great ways to anti-age in the new year. So thanks everybody again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. So take care and happy holidays. Bye-bye.